Yes, welcome back. Another video. Today's topic is this thing over here. So yeah, this is today's topic. Obviously I've been doing a lot of videos on the GTI, and I haven't really given any like background on it or like actual like a build breakdown or anything. So yeah, that's what we're getting into today. We're gonna do a full in-depth history of the car, what it was like when I've got it, when I first purchased it, and then build breakdown of what I've done so far, and obviously the plans with this car coming forward. So obviously if you want to hear what's going on in regards to this GTI, I urge you to watch this video all the way through. Also, if you are planning to build a 180, even if it's not a Mark IV, it can be an Audi TT, it could be an A3, S3, you name it, anything on the 180 platform, I urge you to watch this, because in this video as well I'm going to explain trials and tribulations that I've gone through with this car, that which might help with your build so that you can avoid it, and also like little tips and tricks on what I found works and what doesn't work. But without further ado, let's get into the history of this car. So I purchased this car in, I think it was May 2016. So as of today we are the 11th of July 2024. So I've had this car a very long time. So what's that, 8 years? Yeah, 8 years I've had this car. In these 8 years, this car has gone through a lot of changes. So when I bought it, it was standard AUM engine code, 150 brake. Yeah, it was like bog stock, apart from all it had on it was a ram air filter. That was the only modification that was on the car. According to the previous owner, it was matte, but it definitely wasn't. I think I drove it stock like that for all of 4 days, and then I got a map. It was a flash map, even though we'll get to how I feel about flash maps. My close cousin has been in the modified C mod for a while. He does a few maps and whatnot himself, but so I asked him, like, obviously if he could sort it out. He managed to get a map from Phil Cooper at Mallory Performance for my car. Obviously we loaded that file onto the car, and oh, that's what I forgot to add, sorry, it had an ram air filter and the gayest side exit. So yeah, mapped it after 4 days. Not sure of the power, because obviously it was a flash map, but I would say it was probably around about 210 maybe at most, with like the old launch control. So obviously, yeah, I ran that for a couple of months, and then obviously that's when the modifications just like started running. So first of all, I bought a straight piped exhaust. So like literally it was a straight pipe. Yeah, like downpipe decat and straight through to the smallest silencer as a back box with a oval tip, like the Cooper R style. That with the launch control was ridiculous. As you can see, that was ridiculous. I ran it like that for a while, and then after about a year or so, yeah, I started having issues. So my clutch started slipping, obviously that exhaust started to fall apart. So the amount of times like I've gone to car meets and it's like I'd hit launch control and the rear box would fall off, it was a joke. it was a joke. So my clutch was slipping, I was having engine issues, the gearbox was starting to become a bit notchy, and then on top of that as well, all the bushes were shot. Like the suspension needed much needed work. Like, so obviously back then, obviously I knew like basic mechanics, but I wasn't too clued up in the 180 world. And like obviously this platform, got to learn about this platform, as you can see, or as you know. At that time, my cousin was breaking Cupra Oz. So I remember him saying, he was like, because I went to go and put it in the garage, and that's like, I got quoted, I think it was about £800 to have everything sorted. So I new clutch and flywheel fitted. Bear in mind, this is just labour, this ain't even including the parts. New clutch and flywheel kit fitted, new slave, new bushes, new ball joints, track rod ends, I say track rod ends, basically a new rack for them to fit a new rack, and there was a few other little bits and pieces there as well. So, but yeah, they quoted me £800 labour, and I was like, that's a lot, bearing in mind I paid £700 for this car when I bought it back in 2016. And then obviously my cousin that breaks Cupra Oz was like, got a Cupra Haas sitting here, like, we'll sell it to you for £1,000, and what we'll do is strip it down, we'll swap everything over onto the Golf. So I said, yeah, fuck it, why not? Like, it was a BAM 225, obviously front wheel drive where it's a Cupra, had the 6-speed gearbox. We dropped the subframe, we pulled my engine out, done the same on the Cupra, put that into the Golf. We done the same with the rear. We dropped the trailing arm off of the, that was it, because I needed new trailing arm bushes because the bushes were shot. So that was another thing with the £800. Basically bare shell underneath, and we just swapped everything from the Cupra straight up onto the Golf. We had to do a bit of jiggery with the exhaust. Ran twin cats with a Miltech centre pipe, and then from the centre pipe back, just a stock Cupra back box. That was it. Ran it like that for ages. But what I've come to find over time is that I hate exhausts on clamps, because over time the clamps, they wear down, they don't create a proper seal, and the next thing you know, you've got exhaust blows, which is just an absolute nightmare. Yeah, I had that to contend with. Yeah, I ran it at the stock 225 for a while, enjoyed it, had fun, and then I put a downpipe on it, and I had my cousin flash a map on it. So we flashed the map on it, we went to pod a couple times on it. We actually got it dynoed. Also, most of all of this, like, if you want to look up on the stages of this car, like, Instagram is the best place to look, because like basically that's documented the car basically from when I got it up until now. But anyway, getting back to it, so we actually took it to pod a couple times. Our personal best with that flash map was a 13.8. Bearing in mind we're on stock Cupra R suspension. Like literally all it is was basically, we done a little bit of engine work. So we put R8 coil packs on it, the NGK Iridium plugs that are 2 steps colder. I think they're the BR7IEX, I think. Don't quote me on that, but it's something like that. Those who know will know what I'm talking about. So we had those plugs on it. We changed out the ram air filter for a K&N air filter, stock size intake tip, and I think that was it. Other than that, everything else was stock, apart from the exhaust. Like, bits of it was stock. At pod we ran a 13.8, which I was well impressed. We smoked a 335i down the street, like, differently. We smoked it. I think he ran a 14.4, 14.5, and yeah, we done a 13.8, so we left him for dead. So that was all well and good. And then after that, I kind of stopped daily in the car, like, because it was just like, I was just having non-stop issues. I bought a 3 Series, I bought an E46 2 litre, a little M Sport. Like, looked nice, engine was shit, but it was a means to get about. Also had a little 125 at the time that I used to use just to go to and from work. And then that's when I decided to go all in with this car. I was having a few engine issues and whatnot, and I just thought, at the time I was working a lot and I was making quite a bit of money, so me and my friend thought, do you know what, let's pull this engine out, let's forge it. Especially because when we was running the 262 or 63 brake, no, it was 264, sorry, it was 264 brake. When we was running that power on the dyno, the torque was bit silly for the stock rods that we were running. So obviously it was 264 brake with 440 newton meters of torque. So converting that into pounds per foot, I think it was 321 pounds per foot of torque. And these engines, they're only really good for about 300 pounds per foot. And especially with this car, it was a spiky map, so that 321 pounds per foot of torque would come in about 3000 RPM when it came on boost. So it's like, it was one of those ones where it comes in hard, but then it would just die off. So yeah, so me and my friend, we decided to jack it up, pull it apart. So yeah, we didn't do pistons because obviously where it was a band engine, they're already semi-forged. These pistons are good for about 450 brake. It's more, it's like, obviously I've seen people run a lot higher on these pistons, but it's more the valves you need to worry about. But with the valves, it's not really a brake horsepower thing. They can just drop whenever they feel like it. So yeah, so we put Pro Race Engineering I-beam rods in it. We upgraded obviously the rod bearings, their ACL. We done main bearings, so the crank bearings, ACL, and then we put some stock thrush washers in. So we done that, put the engine back together, was all good. But under inspection, when we did take it apart, we realized that there was a Chinese head on it, on this BAM engine. So it wasn't a genuine head, and you can tell from the indentations on piston 3 that the valves, the exhaust valves had dropped prior, and obviously someone's replaced it. So I reckon the exhaust valves have dropped and it blew the head up. So hence why there's a Chinese head on it, and obviously all the valves on cylinder 3 were completely different to all the other cylinders. So yeah, we done that, and then also we done a few other bits while we was there. So we put new hubs and bearings on the front. I bought some Raceland coilovers to put on. I think they were Raceland Primos, so they're basically the top of the range Raceland coilovers. Raceland is an American brand, because I didn't want to go all out, but at the same time I didn't want to put cheap shit coilovers, so I wanted a nice middle, but I didn't want to go with KW or like those sort of brands because everyone goes with them, and I've seen good and bad reviews, so I thought I'd go for something a little bit different. I read up about these Raceland coilovers, and I saw that they've got some quite good reviews, so I ordered them. They came with 16-way adjustable dampers as well, which is good. So it's like, obviously if I'm on like driving road, I can soften them up, and then obviously when I'm on track I can stiffen them up. But me, I've always kept them in the hardest setting, because I found like I'm not really, this ain't a daily. It's like I'm more of a performance over comfort kind of guy. So I'd rather be uncomfortable but it performs at its best, rather than being comfortable and it not performing at its best. But even still, with these coilovers, I find on track they're good. It's just they could be a bit stiffer. That is my only gripe with them. But overall, for what I paid, good value for money. So yeah, we done coilovers. We put a new steering rack in. So we put TT quick rack in. We also polybushed the subframe and the wishbones and top mounts. So and the steering rack. So it was, yeah, we pretty much polybushed the whole front end, including the dog bone mount as well. So then yeah, we was running like that for a while. That was good. I ran that for about 2 months, and I took it down to JC Customs to have a full custom catback exhaust system made, because I was just sick of the blows. I couldn't deal with it no more. And oh my god, that exhaust was a game changer. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I hate the sound of 180s. I think they sound shit, yeah? But this exhaust, I actually like how it sounds. I don't love it. I'm not gonna say I love it, but I do like it. For a 1.8T, it actually sounds nice for a 1.8T. Yeah, let me just make that fucking clear. Like, it sounds good for a 1.8T. 1.8T. It sounds good for a 1.8T, but overall, like, there are nicer cars out there. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, me personally, I like the sound of a V6 innit. But anyway, so yeah, we had that done. Then I took the car down to Tuning Technics over in Epping, and got him to do a custom live road map. So I've spent probably about 3 or 4 hours over there with him, and when I mean, oh my god, the exhaust ped with the map and all the other little things that I'd done, game changer. Because I'm thinking, yeah, at this point I had an oversized tip, 007 blow off valve, obviously the RA core packs, the NGK spark plugs, AirTech front mount intercooler. What else? I'm probably forgetting stuff. Yeah, I'm probably forgetting stuff, but yeah, you get my drift. Took it down to him, live road mapped it, fully transformed the car. I like it still come on like hard, but not as hard as it used to, and then drop off, so it come on a bit smoother, a bit linear, and it held the power until redline, which obviously I had my redline lifted to 7.2. Because before, when I went to him with that map that I had on previously, the 264 brake, that didn't have a rev limiter, which for me is like, why would you not have a rev limiter? But I never really revved it past 7. But yeah, when I went to Tuning Technics, rev limiter of 7.2, and yeah, like literally, like I could not complain. Like epic. And probably about 2 months later, the slave cylinder and the gearbox shit itself. So at this point, my gearbox was completely stock clutches, because obviously when I done the BAM swap, obviously it was already bolted to a 6-speed box, so I literally just swapped the box and the engine all over as one unit rather than splitting them. To this point, I had not touched the box, and so like from the conversion to when it went, probably done me about a good 4.5 years, no issues. So obviously, slave cylinder shit itself, so the clutches are no good now. So obviously went back up to my friends to give me a hand, and I said, oh, so he's like, what do you want to do? Just put clutches in it. So I thought, do you know what? Obviously the plans that I have with this car and where I'm going with it, like I'm going for big power. So rather than just put a clutch in it for now and then at some point have to upgrade it where the power can no longer keep up with the clutches, I thought, you know what, let me just go all out now, that way I ain't got to worry about it. So at that point I purchased a CG Motorsports 555 series twin plate clutch kit. Mate, that kit's expensive, £800, but you do get a lot in the kit. Like, you get everything you need. You get an upgraded slave cylinder, so it's no longer plastic, it's metal. Obviously you get the fully single mass solid flywheel. You also get the twin plate clutches, and you get all the bolts and accessories. So you get the flywheel bolts and obviously all the other necessary stuff that you need to do the job. So boom, we've put the clutch on, and then I thought, do you know what, while I've got the box out, let's build the box. Yeah, so I purchased the WaveTrack LSD. When that is probably the most expensive part on this car. That part almost cost me double what I paid for the car in the beginning. I think I paid like just under £1,300 just for a diff. Just for the diff. Like, that's not including the bearings and stuff like that. I had to purchase all that separately. So all in all, probably with the diff and the little bits and pieces that I needed to get to put the diff in, I probably paid £1,350, almost £1,400 to get the diff and the bits needed to go into this gearbox. And then on top of that, I purchased a gearbox strengthening kit from Pro Race Engineering, which is about £400, which consists of upgraded selector forks. So from the stock forks are brass, I bought the upgraded steel forks, but because of the variation of my box, I could only use the forks from first to fourth. Also, we've got a fourth gear support, so it's like you've got basically drill a hole in the gearbox, and there's like a little screw sort of thing that goes into the gearbox, and what that does is it pushes on the shaft to stop vibration, because these 6-speeds are known a lot to strip fourth, so it's just a support for that, just to make it more rigid so it doesn't strip the gear. On top of that, we've got a billet insert on the input shaft, so it's like basically a billet bar that goes inside the input shaft, because the input shafts on these are hollow, so obviously it's got a billet steel rod basically in the middle of that to make it solid. So basically this box is built, the only thing that hasn't been changed in this box is the synchros. So I was debating about going dog gears, but one, I wanted a short shifter, because with these stock, the throws on them, there's such long throws, and it'd be very easy to mess up the dog gears. And it's like the dog gears for this, for the set that I wanted, they're about just under 2.5 grand, and it's like I don't really want to spend 2.5 grand to then miss shift and then 2.5 grand down the drain. So I thought, you know what, let me keep the synchros at that point. So we done that, put the car back together, and was all good. And then we went and done our first track day at Cadwell Park with Officially Gassed and the Gas Gang. Mate, that blew me away, because that year I had a choice. I only had enough money to either go and do Santa Pod, the ultimate street car, which I normally do every year, or to go circuit. Obviously I go Santa Pod every year, it's nothing new. Yeah, it's a good time like to spend with my friends, and it's like a vacation for me. But I've never put this car in a circuit at that point, and I really wanted to get on circuit. So we went and done Cadwell Park. Blew me away. Like that's where I feel at home now. Like, drag racing is fun, but I like circuits. I'm a circuit guy. I love rinsing my car around the circuit. So with that, car performed amazing, especially for the conditions, because at the time I was running all weather tires. In the morning it was dry, the grip was decent, and then obviously it started raining in the afternoon, and it's obviously where I had the all weather tires on. Like, this thing was a beast. Like, it just hooked and went. Like, don't get me wrong, we had one moment where I turned into a corner a bit too early, turned back in. I upset the rear end, and obviously the back end slid on the grass a little bit, but obviously I just put the power down just to pull the car straight, and that was it. But yeah, that performed brilliantly at that track day. Then after that, where we 2024, so we done Donington 2023, 2022 we done Cadwell Park. So obviously Cadwell was good. I thought obviously the handling was very good. Obviously I wanted more power, so obviously I was looking into that, but obviously I wanted to make the handling even better, because even though it handled very well at Cadwell, it's still a bit boaty. So then leading up to Donington, which you would have saw in one of my previous videos, I've put rear anti-roll bar on, we put this K-brace in. What else did we do? We put EBC blue stuff pads on, because obviously when we swapped over, that was another thing I've missed out. So when we done the swap with the Cupra R, the only thing that wasn't on that car was the 4-pop calipers. So what I done is I bought some TT hangers for like £40, which allows me to run the 312s rather than the smaller discs that the GTIs come with. The GTIs and the TTs run the exactly same calipers, it's just the TTs have a bracket to space out the caliper so that you can run a bigger disc. So we've got the 312s on this. Yeah, like, people call it a big brake upgrade, but me personally, I don't. Like, yeah, it is a bigger brake, but it's not a big brake kit. I wouldn't class it as that. I would say it's just a slight upgrade. Obviously the Cupra R4 Prots is still better than these, but they do the job. They do the job, especially at this power level. They do the job. So yeah, we got vented and drilled discs. We put EBC blue stuff pads on it. And then what else did we do? We bought some new wheels, and we put some Nankang NSR2s on it. to go Donington. I was gonna get some more triple eights, but the weather wasn't looking brilliant, and I thought, if I don't really want to spend £900 on tyres to go to a track where I can't use them, because it's just soaked. Because obviously our triple eights, they're more of a dry, they're a dry weather tyre. They're not for wet. Like, you can drive them in the wet, but it's your own risk. You're just going to be spinning up everywhere. So I went with the Nankang NSR2s, and even in the wet, because it was drenched, it was torrential rain the whole day. Even in the wet, the amount of grip I had in the corners was ridiculous. And these NSR2s are semi-slicks, like, so they're a nice medium. They're decent in the wet, they're decent in the dry. They're not the best tire or best semi-slick all round. I just wanted something like a nice little transition from road tires, because I've run PS4s, I've ran I've done PS4s, I've done PS4Ss, I've done Continentals, I've done Pirellis, and obviously on the road, the ones that I found the best were the PS4s, but even in the wet, they were still a bit shit as I was spinning third and fourth. Then I went over onto the all-weather tyres. I was hooking second in the dry and in the wet, so, and they're a bit cheaper, so that's why I went down that route. So yeah, done Donington. That was good all the way up until right at the end of the day. I blew the turbo manifold gasket. And since then, I'm going to be honest, the car hasn't been running perfect. On the drive home, obviously, I tried to tighten it up as best I could, but I lost one of the bolts. And the gasket was just blown to shit. So obviously, I just got it home, sorted that gasket out. But ever since then, like, the car's always had like a little splutter. Like, over time, it's been clearing up. But like, over time, I've been doing little bits and that. It's been clearing up, but it's never completely gone. Obviously, what else happened? It jumped timing at some point as well, so I had to retime the engine, put a new belt on it and so forth, and a couple and like tensioners, stuff like that, running fine. And then up to the one of the last videos you would have seen, us going to Silverstone. So what did we do leading up to Silverstone? Put a deep baffle charged pipe on it. Oh, and we just done maintenance. So we put new coolant hoses on, and so new coolant hoses. Should have changed the temp sensor there and then, because then that would have saved us the issue at Gaston track. So yeah, we done a service. We upgraded the brake lines from the normal rubber lines to braided lines. So I broke the flexi on the downpipe when I was retiming the engine, because I couldn't. My own fault really. I was just being lazy. I couldn't be asked to unbolt it and unbolt the downpipe to drop the engine to get the engine mount on. I left the downpipe on it, and in hindsight, it basically snapped the flexi. So obviously we needed to put a new downpipe on it. So we done that, and then obviously yeah, we went to Gaston track at Silverstone, and yeah, we saw the issues that we had there, and then obviously we brought it back, changed the sensor and everything, but we still having issues. The car's just been non-stop overheating. Like, if you drive it like normally, it's fine. As soon as you come on boost and you wanna give it a bit, it just keeps overheating. So like, literally, I've just had it parked up for the last like month or so. Then I decided to do a compression test the other day, and yeah, she's hurt. She's hurt bad. So we are down on all cylinders ridiculously. Out of all the cylinders, cylinder 4 is the best cylinder, and that's still a good 50 psi down. So realistically, because I've got an AUM head on here, so I warped the China head, got an AUM head on it, so it's actually the head from my original engine, which is a high compression engine. The BAM engines are a low compression. So realistically, compression on my cylinders realistically should be between, I'd say about between 160 to 175. But yeah, cylinder 1, 100 psi, cylinder 2, 100 psi, cylinder 3, I think we're 105, and then cylinder 4, we're 120, in between 120 and 125. I think it's like 121, 122. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. That's pretty much the history of the car, and yeah, that's pretty much the build breakdown. So would I do it again? See, this is what I've been thinking about doing. It's like, building another 180 engine, but building it from scratch. because obviously with this car, especially in the early years, I always had to daily it, so it was always like, oh, rush, fix it, get back on the road so I can get it to work. Then obviously in the last few years, it's like rush, fix it so I can MOT, so I can park it at the side of the road, because I didn't have anywhere to store it. But it's something came to light that I've seen that at this point I have purchased, which you will find out on the next video to this. A couple of things I've purchased, you'll see on the next video to this, and it will explain the ending of this video on how I'm going to end this video. So let's get into it now. So obviously you've had the history and a bit of the build breakdown, just roughly going over things. So we've got forged rods, built gearbox, LSD, obviously all bolt-ons for KO4. So like obviously it's the turbo from the Cupra, so it's a KO4 024. We've got all bolt-ons for that, 550 cc injectors, AirTech front mount, iridium spark plugs, R8 coil packs, oversized turbo tip, K&N air filter. We've got strut brace in the back, in the front. We've got K brace in the back. Got rear anti-roll bar. With the whole front end of the car is poly bush. That's pretty much it off the top of my head. Like probably other stuff to like. The future plans with this car is, within the next couple of months, I'm actually going to be breaking this. It's even though I've had this car 8 years, and I did think this was going to be my forever car, hence the reason why I've been dumping thousands of pounds into this car. We've come to the end of the road with this car. The main reason being is one, obviously the mechanical issues that I'm having is, I believe the reason why we're down on compression is due to piston rings. I did think it was head gasket because of the overheating, but I've got a lot of blow by, and I believe it's the piston rings. And I don't really want to rebuild this engine again. I'd rather start with fresh blocks and just start completely from fresh, because this block now has probably got about 160k on it, and it's like, obviously yeah, I could take it machine shop and overbore it and stuff like that, but I just want a clean slate. Another big issue is rust. This shell is just rusting away, and it's getting to the point where I'm like, bro, like, how long can you polish a turd for? Like, do you know what I mean? With this car, it's always been one thing after another. And obviously, if you're thinking about buying a 180 stock, they're lovely. As soon as you start modifying one, you are going to run into issues, because it's like you're forever chasing the weakest point. So something will break, i.e. the weakest point, you will change it, then that will move that weakest point over to another part, 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 and you'll be constantly chasing it. The best bet, obviously, if you do want to build a 180, if you want to just like stage 1, cool, it should be fine. Just all I would say, bushes. Yeah. Stage 2, I'd say do rods, because more time, especially if you're staying on a KO4, it's gonna run over that 300 pounds per foot. It's gonna run over. So I'd do rods like stage 2 upwards. And then obviously cooling system, that will need to be upgraded, and obviously everything else obviously to make the platform usable, i.e. tyres, suspension and so forth. But yeah, so I will be breaking this car. Go over and follow me on my Instagram. I'll be doing a breakdown of all the parts that will be up for sale. So obviously if you do have a 180 and you're after certain bits, obviously I'll have bits up for sale on there. I'll also make a post in my community of all the bits and bobs that I've got and what I'll be selling them and what I'll be selling them for. Don't worry, I'm not going to be like half of these idiots out here trying to claim back every single penny that they've spent, because I know that's not going to happen. It's second-hand bits. Even though most of the bits they ain't got that much mileage on them, like some bits haven't even got 1,000 miles on them. But I'll be giving reasonable prices, but at the same time, I'm not trying to give it away. But in the next video, even though it's the end of this car, it's not the end. In all honesty, we've got a replacement. That's all I'm going to say. That's the only clue I'm giving you. We have got a replacement. So what I will be doing in the next video is you will find out what that replacement is. So yeah, look out for the next video, because obviously I will explain in depth what the plans are with that, what direction we're going and so forth, which I think you guys will like. And it will be nice because it'll be a blank canvas, because obviously realistically I should have started YouTube when I first bought this car, but obviously I've never really been a social media sort of person. It's only like, I'd say in the last like few years, like a lot of people have been like telling me like, Jay, like you need to do this, like get on this. So yeah, here I am. But yeah, not much action in this video today, unlike usual. I'm making all these videos on this car and doing other little bits like my bike, and I haven't really sat down, done a build breakdown, or given you like history of this car. So I got a feeling this is going to be a long video. So yeah guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I look forward to see you on the next one. Like I said, don't forget the next video, big things are going, yeah. But yeah, take care my people, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.